everyone, welcome to my channel. As some of you may know, I did a question and answer on my Instagram stories in which everyone or anyone that wanted could ask me any questions about vet school. So in this video, I will answer all those questions that you guys have. And I have written them all down on my phone. And we will start with, what made you want to become a vet? So as a lot of my colleagues, since I was little, knew I wanted to be a vet. I saw animals and I was just infatuated by them. I loved them. My mom would always make fun of me because I would just save whatever I found, even if it was a lizard, a kitten, or whatever I found that was living. So I've loved animals my whole life, and I knew that the love for animals that I had was way beyond just liking them and wanting to have them all as pets and having a zoo, but I wanted to save them and I wanted to know how to. I started shadowing a veterinarian when I was little. I think I want to say 12. I want to say I was 12 when I started shadowing a veterinarian. And I'll never forget that on the second day of me shadowing this vet, a dog came for him to be put down. This dog was very old, Labrador, couldn't even walk, had incontinence, and it was time. It was definitely time. And I remember thinking to myself, oh God, this is the moment where I'm gonna know if this is for me or not. And I went through it. The veterinarian actually let me assist, and I was part of the whole procedure. And it was kind of hard being there and experiencing that with the owner. The owner was crying. It was hard for me not to cry even, but I did it, and I survived it, and I knew that what we were doing was the right thing to do. And right after that, the next patient was a puppy, which reminded me that life is a cycle, and as long as I can work towards bettering the lives of the animals that are alive and give them the best quality of life that they can, then I'm doing the best I can. So that day I knew that this is the profession for me. Hardest classes in vet school. So a lot of classes are hard in vet school, but I think the hardest for me initially was pharmacology, because it was a lot of drugs to memorize and a lot of mechanisms of action and durations and a lot of little details that were really hard for me to memorize. So I think I'd say pharmacology, but right after I got it, I actually recognized that I liked it. So definitely hardest class, but it's a good one. Would you want to specialize? So the answer is yes. I don't know what life has in store for me, so I know there's a lot that's gonna happen in the next few years. I'm gonna see what doors open up for me, job opportunities. I think that if I find the job that I love and the place that I want to spend the rest of my life in, then I guess I'd be willing to commit to a job. But I do like the idea of specializing, especially if I had to do so. I think I would do so in equine, something equine specific. I don't know if it would be in orthopedics, in surgery, internal medicine, urology. I have no idea, but I think I would really love so. So stay posted, maybe I'll figure it out in clinics. What is the hardest part about being a vet student? So the hardest part of vet school really is that you have to really focus on everything. Learn about everything, even if it's not your main focus or like your main interest. Like you have to learn about birds, you have to learn about cows, dogs, dolphins. You have to learn about it all, even if you just want to do small animal or large animal or whatever. What happens after you return to the States for your clinicals? So as some of you may know, I'm in St. George's University and island of Grenada. I love it here. So you do 3 years of vet school here, and then the 4th one you do it in the US in your vet school of choice. They have a list of schools that are affiliated with us, and you just basically pick one. It's a more difficult process that I'm describing, but anyway, you go to clinicals in your 4th year. So this person wants to know what happens there. So what happens is I do my 4th year, which is nothing like it was here. It's literally clinical rotations. So I'm not in class anymore. I'm just working on the hospital. I'm doing rounds, and every block, so every block depending on the school, in my school, I'm going to Texas A&M, consists in 2-week blocks, which means that every 2 weeks I'm rotating in a different aspect of veterinary medicine. So for example, I will have 2 weeks of internal medicine, small animal internal medicine, and then I'll have 2 weeks of large animal surgery, and then I'll have 2 weeks of ambulatory. So it just depends. Every 2 weeks is a different topic for the whole year. And after that whole year of rotations, passing them all and passing my NAVLE, that would mean I become a veterinarian. How important is to have a GPA higher than 3.0 in order to get into vet school? So I'm not gonna lie to you. It is pretty important to have a good GPA. And I'm not saying that because the vet school won't accept you if you have whatever GPA. It's only because it's competitive. Your colleagues or the people that are applying to vet school at the same time that you are probably have really good GPAs, and it varies. Every school I know has a range of GPAs that they've taken. On a student budget, how can you afford all those beautiful trips? Please tell all your secrets. So my secret is apply to all the scholarships you can. And that means literally everything you can find online. I know that the AVMA offers a bunch of them, so look into their website, and in your school, ask about it. I do that, and I'm able to get sponsored for a couple of externships a year, and that's really nice. Also, sadly, student loans, it's a real thing. It's expensive, but I mean, I think it's part of my education, all these externships and things that I'm doing and learning all around the world. So as I consider that education, I put it towards my scholarships and my loans as well. How long does it take to graduate vet school? So vet school, in order to get in it, you have to do a bachelor's degree or at least take the prerequisite classes, and that takes anywhere from 3 to 4 years in average. After you do that, then you have to do 4 years of vet school. So technically 8 in the US. How do you gain experience with no animal experience background? I think the best way to gain experience is starting in your shelters or the clinics around you. They are always accepting help, even if it's just to clean kennels. Like, trust me, they will get to trust you and they will let you do more things. And when you start doing more things, you learn more. And I think every experience, no matter how little it is, will accumulate and will teach you a lot. What's the hardest part about vet school? The hardest part about vet school is probably the course load. It's a lot to handle while you're trying to live your life and also like be a decent family member, and if you have a significant other, also figure that out, and then have a social life, and then also sleep. So yeah, all of it is overall hard. I'm not even gonna lie, but it's okay because it's only 4 years of the actual vet school. You'll be fine. If I made it, you can make it. Do you have any particular externships/rotations that you're looking forward to in clinics? I do. So I'm going to Texas A&M, as I said before, and I'm tracking equine. Tracking means that you can literally pick an area in veterinary medicine in which you want to focus on. So I decided to focus on horses, so most of my credits or my rotations are going to be about horses. So I'm going to have soft tissue surgery, which I'm really excited about, orthopedic surgery, ambulatory. We're also going to go to a prison to check on their animals, so I'm really excited for it all. What was one of your biggest challenges during vet school experience so far? I think that one of the biggest challenges during vet school has been being away from my family. As some of you may know, there was a hurricane called Maria that passed by Puerto Rico, which is where I live, or where my family's from, and it was really hard to communicate with them. I basically couldn't for a very long time, and a lot of people didn't know where anyone was, how anyone was, what were they doing, if they were alive. That time was during my midterms, and I couldn't even focus because I was trying to find out how they were. I did get a hold of them eventually, and hearing about their struggles and not being able to help and just being here, it made me feel super helpless. So I guess the biggest challenge I've faced here is definitely being away from my family when I feel like they need me the most. What veterinarian program did you decide and why? So as I mentioned before, for the Y in veterinary medicine, I knew that becoming a technician or working at a shelter or any of the other veterinary jobs that are out there, which are amazing, I just knew that it wasn't a good fit for me. I always known that I want to do the medicine aspect of animals. Like, I love them enough, I think, to dedicate my whole life and torture myself with pharmacology that I would do all of that for them. Were you raised in Puerto Rico? If you were, when did you leave? So I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I was born in Santurce and I lived in Bayamón, and then I lived in Guaynabo. My family lives in Guaynabo right now, but I do have family around the island. And yeah, I left when I finished high school. I was 18. I knew that I wanted to go to vet school, and there's no vet school in Puerto Rico, so I decided that I should leave before so I can get used to the US and all that. I thought it would also be a great experience for me to study abroad, so I did my bachelor's in the US in Florida, and now I'm here in Grenada. What part of Puerto Rico are you from, and can you speak Spanish fluently? Like I said, soy de Guaynabo, Puerto Rico, y sí puedo hablar español perfectamente. Mi primer idioma es el español, el segundo es en inglés, así que sí, toda mi vida he hablado en español y es mi idioma favorito definitivamente. Favorite ways to de-stress? I love doing that. I'm a procrastinator, I'm not even gonna lie. I love going to the beach. I love going out, dancing, hanging out with my friends. I also like to de-stress by watching Netflix, not gonna lie. Just relaxing with Mina, my cat, at home. Even cleaning could be de-stressing for me, doing laundry. I do whatever I can. I'm a person that I love to say yes to things, so even if it's a person that's not super close to me, just a colleague in general will invite me to something, I'll say yes. And I think that the best times are always the ones that you plan the least. So yeah, I just try to live on the edge a little bit, be spontaneous, and de-stressing is something that is super important because vet school is hard. So you need to give yourself some breaks. But overall, I de-stress a lot and I try to have fun everywhere I go. Do they normally teach courses in small animals / exotics in vet school? And the answer is yes. All vet schools have to offer a general, like, classes of everything. So general knowledge of exotics and small animals and all of that should be offered by every vet school. I do know that every vet school has a different intensity to it, but for sure you'll get some experience. How do you succeed in vet school? I think that the recipe to success, and no matter what you're thinking, is passion. As long as you love this more than anything and you're willing to work your hardest and figure out ways to study, figure out ways to like make everything work, you will succeed. But how did I succeed was, I think, planning ahead. I was determined that I was gonna be here and do my best. I was also determined that I was gonna do my best and enjoy it to the fullest. So finding a balance was the key for me. And to me, that is success. How do you handle stuff like your phone, banking, and off-campus living? I'm assuming you're asking this because I'm in Grenada. My phone, honestly, I have T-Mobile, no sponsorship. I have T-Mobile, I pay international, and I have data everywhere. I don't really need like actual calls. I Wi-Fi call everyone, so I don't really have a problem with my phone. I have an iPhone, normal. When it comes to banking, I do have the same bank as I do at home. I don't have anything differently. I use the ATMs here. They obviously have the fee, but normal. I mean, I know some people do use Charles Schwab, and that's what they recommend because they won't charge you a transaction fee. So that's my tip for you. You should do that because I didn't do it. And how did I handle off-campus living? I love it. Just like anywhere else, I just got my apartment. I have an amazing landlord and she rented me her car, and I get around just fine, even though we drive on the opposite side of the road, which is really, really fun. But I honestly get by well. How do you know that vet school was for you? I didn't necessarily know that vet school was for me. I knew that I had to be a vet. Like, I wanted to be a vet so badly, and whatever that took, I was gonna do it. So I didn't know vet school was for me. I think I found out once I got into vet school, like, ooh, like, this is different. Like, obviously you want to become a vet and you imagine yourself in like the last stage of it, right? As a vet with your white coat in a clinic or whatever it is, part of medicine that you want to work in. But you didn't really think about all that process, so I never really like dreamed about like, oh, I want to study all this time. No. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but I am meant to be here, and I knew it. Like, I knew if this was one of those steps, I was gonna make it. What do you think it's like being a single guy coming into vet school? Does it add to the stress? So for those of you that don't know, vet school is mostly female now. It used to be mostly male, and times have changed, and it's now mostly female. So if you get nervous around females, then I guess it could be stressful, but I don't see why it would, honestly. The complete opposite. It should be fun. Did you complete a bachelor? If so, what major? I did complete a bachelor's in Florida International University, and it was a major in biology. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, career and personal wise? So, classic question. I see myself having the job of my dreams. Whether it's finishing my specialty or at the practice that I love, wherever that is, I just see myself, my destination is done, DVM, and happy. In the personal aspect, which includes all of those things, I don't know, maybe a family? We'll see. I'm not really in a hurry to see all of that, but I do know that I do want a family and I want the job of my dreams. Would you see yourself living in Grenada? So, I don't know, maybe. I want to do equine, so I know there's not a lot of horses in the island. So maybe, possibly no, but could I retire here? That could be a yes. Study advice and memorize all information. My advice is to figure out what kind of learner you are and get on it. So I'm a visual learner. What I did was write things. Whiteboarding things really helps me. It makes me put everything in one image in my brain, and I can just close my eyes and see it. If you're an auditory learner, listen to the classes over and over again. For example, I know some friends that are like that, and they can just go to class, listen to the professor, and then listen to them again, and that's it. Or if you need to say those things out loud and then like repeat it, and that helps. In my case, I love colors, I like drawing, diagrams, whatever that visually can stick to my brain. I think that's the way to go. What are my vet school essentials? I would say my phone. I mean, maybe not like an essential because it's probably the reason I procrastinate so much, but definitely an essential because whenever I don't know something, I just look it up, I'd say. But other than that, I think an essential for vet school and everything, I think, is my support system, a good group of friends, even if they're just home, as well as your family. It's the key for me. That's my essential. How hard is it to get into SU vet school, and what grades do you need? It's gonna be hard no matter what vet school you go to, so I think going into vet school here at SU is just as hard as anywhere else. There's not a lot of vet schools all over the world. As a matter of fact, there's only like 20 something in the US, and it's gonna be hard because it's gonna be competitive, and they only take really small classes, anywhere from 60 to 100 people, if so. So it is gonna be hard, and you will need good grades. From my experience, you don't really need like a particular GPA. Like, schools will cut a certain GPA, so you have to check on their website particularly, like, oh, nothing below a 2.8 or nothing below a 3. And the problem is not those cutoffs, because I'm sure most of you are fine with those. The problem is the competition. If there's gonna be a class or a group of, I don't know, 1,000 students applying that have a 3.5, then it's gonna be harder for people lower than a 3.5 to get in. And a lot of schools take a variety of GPAs too, so it doesn't really matter, like they don't all have to have a 4.0. So you never know. Just apply, honestly, give it your best, and I'm sure that if you keep trying and you don't give up, you will get it eventually. So that was it for my Q&A, guys. Thank you so much for sending me all those questions through Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, here is my name on Instagram. Please follow me and send me all the questions you have. I really enjoyed doing this with you guys, so follow me there. Subscribe and like this video if you really like it, and if you have any other questions, please comment below. Thank you so much for watching.